Okay, first, thank you very much to all for joining our workshop today. Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy Dewitt from Universiti Malaya. So, Assalamualaikum again and good morning to the Professor, Associate Prof. Dr. Dorothy and also all the participants. Okay. So, thank you for joining our webinar for today entitled New Pedagogies in Collaborative and Mobile Learning in the Era of Post-Pandemic. Okay, so this is an overview of our speaker for today. So we have Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy Dewitt, which is the Associate Professor in the Curriculum and Instructional Technology Department, Universiti Malaya, and a recipient of the Endeavour Executive Fellowship from the Government of Australia. So her formerly with the Educational Technology Division, ETD, Ministry of Education Malaysia, where she was involved in the Smart School pilot project in change management and managing the development of digital materials during the project. So her current interests are in the instructional design, new pedagogies and technologies for knowledge management, collaborative mobile learning, and problem solving. Her publications include at least 8 academic articles in ISR ranked publications and journals such as Journal of Education, Technology and Society, Eurasian Journal of Mathematics, Science and Educational Technology, and Educational Technology Research and Development, and many others corpus ranked publications. She has published 5 books and more than 5 chapters in books on problem solving for transformative learning, collaborative mobile learning, and developmental research. She also has won awards in the teaching innovations, both at national and international level. Her team won the Best Immersive Learning Showcase at ILRN 2020 and many more. So without further ado, I will pass the session to Associate Prof. Dr. Dorothy to continue her sharing.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Daiyang Azra. Okay, I'm very happy to be here with everyone today, this morning. Selamat pagi. Okay, selamat sejahtera. Okay, and it may be a little bit difficult since it's so hot and it's in bulan puasa. So, but I hope what I'm going to share with you will help you in your efforts in training and in teaching in the university. Okay, so I am going to share with you what we do in our university. I'm involved in training in the Emerald program in Universiti Malaysia, which is training for young lecturers when they come in to enable them to develop pedagogy. So some of the things that I'm going to share with you will be things that we use with our young lecturers as well. Okay, so I hope it helps you. And with technology, technology is constantly changing, so you have to try and keep up with it. Either that or get left behind. Oh, okay. So let me share with you what I have prepared. I'm going to share my whole screen so that it's easier, because I will be shifting and doing some things. This is what I've been asked to do, new pedagogies, okay? And this is an area that I'm very interested in, trying out new things, new ways of teaching. And the focus will be on collaborative and mobile learning, which I think we are doing a lot of right now. So you tell me later whether I'm right or not. Okay, so we'll look at a little bit on pre-pandemic, what we did pre-pandemic, what we are doing during the pandemic, and now we are in the post-pandemic, I guess. Okay, so what are we doing right now? So during the pandemic, we had what we call in transformation, disorientating dilemma. Everything changed, right? Our old ways of doing things changed. It was a dilemma. It disorientated us. Okay, but I think we're all stable right now, and we're doing digital pedagogies in many different ways. Okay, so we'll look a little bit at this, but I'd like to get your input. So just now you were scanning QR code. Can you also help me to answer a few questions? So I have a QR code here. I have a link as well. And I'm going to activate my Slido. So I'm using this particular app to get some input from you, okay, called Slido. Maybe you have used it, maybe you have used something similar. So this is what you will see in the back end. So as the lecturer, as the creator of the poll, I'm using this. All right, are you able to get in and answer my question? Which perspective? Okay, so I see it moving and I can present. Okay, so I'm going to present in full screen so that you're able to see it clearly. So once you have got in, tell me what perspective of teaching and learning do you subscribe to? So I am seeing it live. So I see some people like to have fun. Fantastic. And nobody has chosen listen to lecturers. So interacting, so you are the group of lecturers who love to have fun and love to interact with your students. Any more people answering? Okay, I'm going to go on to the next question that I have prepared. Okay, which technology have you used in your teaching and training? I think you can choose more than one answer. Have you used a quiz like Kahoot or any other quiz? Interactive walls like Padlet or something like it? Okay, videos, YouTube. Okay, so quizzes, 100%. Almost everybody who have answered has chosen quiz. Some of you have done video creation, maybe with Lumen 5, which is a AI-enabled app, or maybe with other apps. Virtual worlds, nobody has done yet, nah? Oculus, Street View, 360 videos, which is quite an immersive experience. All right, so far 9 of you have answered. So no more other answers coming in. 10. So the popular ones are quizzes. Teachers like quizzes and interactive walls. Okay, I'm glad you're using interactive walls. And video. Video is very popular. I myself do use this. Okay, I'm assuming no other answers. I'm going on to the next one. So what do you think then is pedagogy? So we say there's pedagogy. So which of the following, I think you have to pick one only. Which is pedagogy? Okay, all 6 people so far have said pedagogy is a method of teaching. 8, 9, 10. And 10 participants who have been active say that is a method of teaching. Okay, great, fantastic. Even though the word peda refers to children, okay, pedagogy is a method of teaching, and we're not dealing with children at the university, they're already adults, right? Okay, but we still call it pedagogy and not andragogy in most cases, because our undergraduates especially, we teach them all the same thing as if they are children, and we don't really give them much choice. So thank you very much for your participation. So at least we're all on the same page, and I am very happy to hear that you've been using things like Padlet. So those of you who are familiar with Padlet may be able to see this design. So before the pandemic, this is what we were doing at Universiti Malaya. Okay, we did flipped classroom. We focus a lot on blended learning. We use things like Padlet, and we had lots of courses because the Ministry of Education wants TPAC to be developed among our lecturers. We focus on TPEC, Technological, Pedagogical, and Content Knowledge. Okay, and we also had learning spaces identified, and we did some lectures, some training in those learning spaces where presentations were all face-to-face. Okay, we use a learning management system. So these are things which are common in higher education. I'm sure in your university as well. Okay, so Spectrum is our learning management system in Universiti Malaya. And we still had problems. Lecturers did not really use online tools, okay, did not know how to use it. Students also didn't really like online learning, maybe a bit of blended learning they found fun. Okay, I think that the situation is similar probably for many universities. And technology was just for fun, novelty. So I remember in Hari Raya 2019, they used a drone. They showed how drones could be used for proposing, okay, during Hari Raya, okay, to someone 1,000 miles away, for example. Okay, that was for fun. Now, in 2020, we had this disorientating dilemma. How do you all manage during the pandemic? Was it difficult? It was difficult for us also at Universiti Malaya, but we did have some kind of training. We managed, I think, to adapt quite fast to Google Meet, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams, because we had been training. We had what was called e-learning week even before the pandemic, and during times of like when the haze was very bad, we actually had a bit of training and going totally online at our university. So when the pandemic came, we thought, okay, just for temporary only, we go online. But it lasted for so long. And I think this particular research that has been done and published in Frontiers of Public Health during the pandemic, study a survey of how lecturers coped in 152 countries, okay, showed that in some countries, so you see on the left-hand side, the color is darker, okay, they found the most disruption in those countries, including India, okay, and in certain countries, like South Korea, there was very little disruption, okay, but Europe and all that, disruption to work for lecturers. So in Malaysia, we were not part of the survey. How did you feel? Do you feel that the pandemic disrupted your work? Or could you manage to perform as usual? Or did you publish more papers? Anyone would like to share? Was the pandemic very disruptive for you? Tak tahu, not so sure. Huh? Okay, disruptive. I see someone say disruptive. Do you manage to publish papers? Or no need to publish papers? For me, I was sitting at home most of the time, so actually managed to do a lot more writing. So now, are we back to normal? So during the pandemic, for us in Universiti Malaya, we had to rush and we did a lot of training. Suddenly there was training on how to use Microsoft Teams, okay, how to go online, what to do, what the online pedagogies that are suitable. So lecturers also participated in other trainings that were held by other universities. Wow, Suba says it's not disruptive. Fantastic. Okay, great. So for some of us, it was disruptive, some of us not. But I think definitely we had to look back at our teaching and learning strategies. We had to change some things if we wanted to reach out to the students. I used to hear that in Sabah and Sarawak, there's a lot of students who don't have access to internet. We have that problem also in Kuala Lumpur, because our students are also from different areas. And by the way, even in Kuala Lumpur, internet is not always stable. Also got problem. So internet was one big problem. Getting our students connected, coming in for class is another. All right. So what we had to do was we had to probably start changing, okay, our role as a lecturer, as a teacher, okay, to improve ourselves. Yeah. Okay. And how do we engage our learner? So for many of us during the pandemic, we changed our strategies to letting the students have a say, having fun with the students, some kind of gamification, okay, and having more collaborative workspaces. So in other words, new learning environments, new pedagogies coming in. And that was when we were totally online. So we had a lot of options to use, okay. We had to try all sorts of devices. Actually, the mobile phone seems to be the best device because internet connectivity on the laptop was less reliable, okay. But on the mobile phone, we seem to be connected. So we had a lot of students going on the mobile phone, and instructors had to be retrained to have new models of pedagogies, and we explored different environments like virtual worlds, okay, sometimes with problems. So you see that particular picture that I showed on the top there is where you have problems. Why some things cannot load on my computer, okay, but lecturer's computer we see so nice and ideal like the bottom. The top one is what the students see. So there were a lot of problems, troubleshooting. We had to be clever at troubleshooting our students' work, our students' laptop, in order to see what they were doing at a distance, not face to face. So during the pandemic, maybe there was technology overload, maybe the quality of delivery was also not so good because we were all trying, testing, exploring. After 2 years already, I think all of you now are also experts in online learning. Okay, so post-pandemic, the new normal now requires us to do more of the digital information overload. Definitely. Now also information overload or not. Okay, one of the things that we have been proposing all the while at Universiti Malaysia is to have more collaborative learning. If you follow the MQF framework, teamwork, okay, it seems to be one of the things that is important. So collaborative learning is where our learners work together for a common goal in groups. So we started using more group work, okay, for our students to work together, so that through the interactions, the group interactions, they learn something, okay. So this is the theory, and we can use lots of the tools that you mentioned and more to actually do collaboration online or even in the blended learning space, okay, when we are face to face. One of my students, my PhD students, did together with the training that we did for our young lecturers, identified tools and instructional strategy, okay, that we can use to interact with our students. So the first part of teaching is activation, where we get to interact with our students, know what prior knowledge they have, just like me interacting with you just now and knowing what tools you use, okay. Then after that, we are able to demonstrate what we want to teach our students, then allow them to apply in maybe simple problems to solve before we go to a bigger problem. I mentioned problem. So this particular instructional strategy is a problem-centered instructional strategy, a task-based style of learning where you give a problem and students solve the problem. So you're welcome to have a look at the articles that that has been published on this area, on the collaborative tools which we got from input from experts all over Malaysia, from different universities, from I think UMS, there might be a lecturer involved, okay, from Dr. Vasudevan's work. So we listed out, and you have here an example for intellectual skills. Okay, what are the technology tools that can be used? Effective domain for getting emotions. Videos have been very, very effective, and more especially immersive 360 videos definitely can engage the emotions from your students. Okay, so that was collaborative learning. Now, mobile learning in Malaysia, so this is data from 2016, long ago. Okay, it shows that 68% were active internet users. But today's data, or this is actually a prediction, data was collected 2020 from Statistica. So it shows that mobile phone penetration, 80% of our rakyat have mobile phones. Okay, so depending on different groups of people who are doing the data, some people show that there's more than 100%, because some people have 2-3 phones. Okay, so this is one data that we have. Whatever it is, we know mobile phones are very commonly used now. Social media apps, okay, Facebook, Insta, among our young people. Games, they're also playing games. And now with the pandemic, they're also learning. So let's see whether it helps or not. So the advantage of mobile learning is that the mobile phone is with you anywhere, anytime, wherever you go. Okay, so you can bring along in the bus, in the library, everywhere you can have the mobile phone. Okay, but you need to have a mobile device. It can be a phone, it can be a tablet. Okay, so you need that. And one thing that seems to be important when lecturers, or when mobile learning is done effectively among the research, it shows that you need the social interaction, and you need information or work content that is delivered in small chunks suitable for the mobile phone. So your pedagogy will have to change if you're using mobile device. You have to chunk up in small sections, okay, of content. So digital apps, there's lots of digital apps. Even on our laptop, we use a lot of digital apps, sometimes in the background. Okay, but when it comes to mobile applications which we download either from the Google Play Store for the App Store for Apple, okay, iTunes, okay, and you have Chinese phone like Oppo, there's Oppo Store, there's Huawei Store, okay, so all these are standalone apps, okay, which can work on your mobile phone, but they depend on the operating system of the phone itself. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you now are a lot of tools that we use, okay, in Universiti Malaya. To what extent, the one we have to investigate lah. Not 100%, not all the lecturers are using, but we do promote these tools among our lecturers during our training. So I'm going to share with you these tools, and all of the tools that we are using in our sharing are actually mobile enabled, mobile applications, if I'm not mistaken, including Slido, okay, Slido which you used just now, right? So in the TPAC training that we do in Universiti Malaya, we focus So I'm going to give you a sampling from all that. Okay. I'm going to talk about virtual walls. So virtual walls, we use this, you see is a virtual, is Jamboard on Google. Okay, the top one. The bottom one is Coggle, which is a virtual wall for brainstorming. So it looks like a brainstorm, right? And this is something that our lecturers did, okay, during the training. So there are a few virtual walls. See the ones in bold that I'm going to look at. Okay, so Slido and all. Padlet. Padlet, you have done it. Congratulations. I'm sure you all have beautiful virtual Padlets. So it's a virtual wall. And we love Padlet because you can do a lot of things on it. And this is something of what we have done. All right, you can put ratings. You can get your students to interact and put in comments, post comments, rate the comments or the posts that their friend, another student has done. Put like the one below here, they can put a heart. Okay, so these are things that maybe can engage your students, and then you can use colors and other things that make it very, very interactive. So where do you do all this? In Padlet, go to settings. So you will see something like this. You have the wallpaper color scheme, right? But below that, you have comments. Enable the comments and let your students comment on their friends' posts to give their comment. But Malaysian students are very shy. I'm sure you'll find that even in Kuala Lumpur also, they are the same. Students everywhere are the same. You don't give them marks, they don't comment. So what we normally do is we give a little bit of mark for participation in the interaction in the online tools. Okay, so this encourages students to actually do more. Okay, that's what we observe. So you can add in space for comments, reactions that you like, okay, or ratings to be given in the virtual wall. We also introduce another virtual wall. I think this is more powerful than Padlet. Padlet is very good and very interesting, okay, but we have found a few more. Stormboard is one where we can do brainstorming, and this is used in the industry. Although this one was produced not for industry but for purpose of training, okay. Stormboard sells, for the corporate clients, templates that they can use to present, to do effective presentations. Okay, so it's used in the corporate world as well. Okay, but if you're sign up like Padlet. There's a free version, limited. Okay, Stormboard also, there is a free version for educators. Okay, limited, that means you don't get access to all the beautiful templates, and you have a few number, maybe like 3 that you can develop, and after that you can join other people's Stormboards as well. So I get my students to join, one of them in the group joins an account in Stormboard, and then they invite everybody, their group members and me, so that I can see what is happening in the group. Okay, so it's very nice, and you can see the Stormboard can be bigger than what you view, and your collaborators, over here you see my face plus 5. There are 5 people there in the group, and you can invite users to come in. So another one which we also love to use in Universiti Malaysia is Miro. Okay, this was done by the lecturer, So you notice that some of these boards are very beautiful because you can put in pictures, graphics. Okay, so what some of the lecturers tell me also, they continue to use Miro with their students, and they get some very, very interesting Miro boards from their students. So students are encouraged and are able to produce beautiful graphics actually, okay, as they interact. So it's an interaction where a large number of a bigger number of students, okay, work together and produce something collaboratively. So they can do this all when they are totally online. We did this training, by the way, this and the previous one was produced when lecturers were attending training totally online. So we did not have the opportunity to meet them, but we all collaborated online on boards like this. And of course, maybe supported with things like WhatsApp. Okay, that is one area that we think is very useful, okay, and can be used collaboratively and also on the mobile phone. The next section is interactivity. So there are many interactive activities. Sorry, my mouse there is moving. Okay, that we can develop using. So you see, Slideto is one of them. Google Forms, Neoport. In our learning management system, we have a wiki. So we also ask our students to produce content and share. And of course, the interactivity bottom here in our discussion forums. Okay, okay, I'm going to go through a little bit more on the interactivity quizzes. There are many quizzes. Socrates is just one of them. Kahoot, I mentioned earlier. Okay, Quizzy seems to be very popular now. Okay, and there are many different quizzes. And I'm going to also introduce you our Microsoft Teams, of course, okay, and Google Forms. You can even create a quiz. But I'm going to mention a few tools in addition to just the quiz one. Okay, like Neoport.
Because I found these results on search.
My Google Nest is responding to me. Okay, Neoport is one of the interactive platforms, I should say. I'll show you more about it. Okay, where we can use to create interaction and include quizzes as well. Okay, so Socrates.
Prof, I think your voice ter-unmute kot. Hilang suara.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Are you hearing me? Can hear me?
Suara.
Can hear? Cannot hear.
Here, I can hear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Right. Okay, thanks for shouting out. So Socrates
Tak ada.
is one tool that we use which can show the benefit of using
Prof,
technology.
boleh dengar suara ke?
Saya boleh dengar.
Cannot hear your voice, Prof.
I cannot hear my voice.
Okay, done.
Done. Okay.
Sorry, saya punya tu tak boleh dengar.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So I was telling you about Socrates. You didn't miss anything lah. Okay. Socrates gives you interaction and shows you whether the students got it right or wrong. Okay, and how many tries they did also you can see. For example here, Ahmad Faiza or Aisha Ahmad Faiza, how many times she did it and finally she got it all right. So that's a good thing. Keep on trying until you get everything right. So this is a sample that I did, and there's an option teacher login or student login. You can log in as a teacher, do log in as a teacher so that you can create the quiz and give to your students, and your students log in as a student and you have a room. If you haven't tried it before, okay, you have a room for your students to come and do the questions. I wanted to tell you about Neoport, which I quite like to use. It curates what we call it curates the lesson. Okay, it allows you to do the planning. I must do what first, second, third, and you can arrange all the activities. Students join with a code. You have to go to Neoport and then put in the code, and then they can start to join your lesson. So they join in as a student, okay, and they see something like this, and with the arrows, they can go forward, so they can see what you have planned. So we love using this because, so this is how it looks like in Neoport. Okay, for the teacher or the lecturer's view, I can put in my slides, I can put in pictures, okay, graphics, I can add, so I can add my own slideshow, or I can add one individual slide, and it's a very easy drag and drop. I can put in videos, content, I can put in quizzes. Okay, so you see 3D simulations also available, field trips. Okay, so the activities I can put in like open-ended questions for quiz, matching pair, yes, right, correct, and wrong quiz, flip grid, okay, video, and lots of other activities, including polls. So it's a very fun and structured way of doing your lessons. So if I'm going totally online, I can plan my lesson with Neoport and then just give the link and the room or code to the students, not room, code. So even before the pandemic, we always say we must have interactivity, but it became more important during the pandemic when we were online. And now after the pandemic, we also have to still go on the same way because we're doing hybrid. Some of our students are online, some of them are coming, and I don't know about UNIMAS, but we're still actually doing hybrid. Even though after Raya, we are supposed to start with face-to-face, but I'm yet to see whether all our students turn up, or whether we still have to go hybrid. Okay, then we need to make sure that we have content and interactivity to cater to everybody. So the combination of perspectives, some students want to study textual knowledge. Some cannot too much, but they don't mind watching a video. Some need you to talk to them. So the lecturer is actually more stressed up. In the end, they demand so many things from you. So you probably have to change your methods and have different ways of interacting. Maybe in the class, you may have one lecture today, you maybe talk to them. Another lecture on another topic, let them do the talking. So you probably have to change your methods, your pedagogies. Okay, and all the while thinking or remembering that students cannot take long sessions. Lecturers are very good. You can sit 2 hours with me because you are focused and you know you want something. But students, our students, we have to engage with them. So we have to think about our content, chunking it, making it small. Even on the learning management system, we can make it small by having more interactivities like in what you see here. Okay, by having different activities that probably would be a form of chunking to help our students. So a second app that we also used to do, so Neoport is one that can help you chunk your activities and plan it. Another one is Blend Space. We have been using Blend Space in Universiti Malaysia more than 10 years already. Okay, and with the when the pandemic came, some of our lecturers continue to use Blend Space. So it is some activities that you can plan similar to Neoport. Okay, you can put in content, you can put in quizzes, okay, and other interactive things. It's not as powerful as Neoport, but it also does the job. A content curation tool which is interactive. So by the way, the Neoport, you can see that last bit that I put out here, all those little those are the slides and the interactivities on Neoport at a glance. Okay, so it's like the slideshow that you see on PowerPoint. These are the slides and the interactivity like quiz here that can be seen on Neoport. This is how it's arranged. Okay, so our content, now sometimes we give videos, right? But videos, theory says, students, children, okay, will not view more than 5 minutes. So depends on your students. Are they young children? Are they like young children? Their attention span might be like children. Okay, they may not be able to view long videos. So we have to have some kind of interaction in our okay, we can use Edpuzzle before I tell you what's in Universiti Malaya. Edpuzzle is one application that you can use for YouTube videos. If you have a YouTube video on the YouTube platform, you can use Edpuzzle and put in interaction or even just put a pause. Okay, that helps actually. And in Universiti Malaya, we are using a learning management system which is Moodle based. Okay, so we also have this H5P. H5P is the apps that was created by MIT, I think. Okay, so we subscribe to it and we have this particular app on H5P which can make a video interactive. So if we put it on our learning management system, we can use this similar to Edpuzzle to stop, put a question, put a highlight, put a slide, okay, so it's like video editing in a way, okay, to have more interaction with our students. So interaction is important because it ensures that the students know that you are there, you are looking at them, your presence, okay? And it also helps in engagement. So that's why we focus a lot on, having interaction, not just let them talk or let them do, let them talk is actually good, or let them read only, not so good. Watch video, okay, but have interactions, okay, because frequent interactions will help them think. It also encourages cognitive, social presence if they have to interact, and teaching presence. So in online learning, these are the presences that we talk about, okay, as well as having a positive attitude. Students will actually enjoy the lesson, okay, and get more from the lesson. And noise is all the interactions which are not necessary for learning, maybe even quarrels, maybe even fun stuff which they just like Selamat Hari Raya greeting, okay, which may help to encourage the community to develop, but are a little bit of noise, okay? But we want to develop the students' presence, especially cognitive presence, okay? And we want to reduce teachers' load, okay? And the noise that goes on in the online environment. In our training in Universiti Malaya, we do a lot of content creation. We encourage our lecturers to let students create content. So one of the content creation tools that we use is Flipgrid mobile app. Okay, very easy to do. So I also use this so I have a course which I run, digital creativity. So I get students to introduce themselves, okay, and they got group work. So actually this emerging technology that they have selected, they have to introduce, okay, and present also so they have a project to do. They present their project on Flipgrid, okay. Try it out. It's very easy to use, especially using mobile phone. You just record on your mobile phone and you can put in layers like augmented reality, can put in text, okay, so can put in presentation slides and even other videos. So another exciting thing about this is that students can comment on what their friends have done. So I like my classes to have interaction. You see lah, not much interaction, but at least there is a little bit, okay? So they are supposed to comment, ask questions, okay, and interact with each other. In that way, I hope they develop cognitive presence, okay, to make sure that they are there. So getting students to create their own content, we have been using this strategy and you might have also been using this strategy for a long time. Okay, so giving them tasks which are meaningful that they can use, okay, which are relevant for them at work perhaps, okay, and using things like project-based, problem-based learning, case-based learning, okay, to present their work. So previously I used to use a lot of wiki. I'm doing a lot now on Teams, and I'm using the notebook on Microsoft Teams actually to let students share their work. Okay, but I do a little bit of wiki. We get students to develop posters. So when we were doing about Janaya Cyber, okay, so to spread awareness, get more posters done to share with your friends and other young people on what are the crimes. So catfishing, okay, have you been catfished? And things that are real. So I needed them to do Google Forms and all that. So I got a project where they had to find out how many of them use Google Documents, use Excel sheets, okay, and what are their skill level. Okay, so these are the ways that they can collect data. So getting them to get information, from their friends, their peers, and even reading assignments, convert what they have read into a poster so that they can share with, they can do a lot of reading, a lot more reading, share their readings with their friends. Okay, the friends just need to read the poster and get the main points from what they have read. Okay, so, and video creation is something, video development, that I've always used, and I think it's very challenging for the not one individual. It's quite tough if it's one individual, but to work in teams, work in a group. So you would start from actually planning a storyboard on how you're going to present your content. Okay, so these are some of the challenging things related to content creation. And in fact, student assessment from student generated content is something very, very useful. Okay, they develop skills as well as they organize their skills and put it in the content. So we have used Canva, okay, and Canva is a very interesting, I think, app for getting students to do content very, very fast. So these are a few things that they can do. Can design anything from PowerPoint slides to posters to even videos now on Canva. And then can share it on Instagram. What do you think? Do you think it's fun? Okay, Lucid Chart is another app that we are also using. Thanks. That can also engage the students, especially when it comes to getting ideas, right? Brainstorming, sharing things. So Lucid Chart has different formats of charts, which can be, you can pick one which is suitable for your content area. Can get your students to write, okay, information that they'd like to share, that they like to brainstorm with, okay, on a Lucid Chart. Of course, Padlet for content creation, Padlet, okay, to share their content. And the good thing is that when they produce something, the students are very excited about what they have produced. Okay, when they know they have to share it, they have to put in quality work. So this ensures that there is better quality. At least they try better. Okay, and for me, I will always allow them to keep on improving, give feedback, okay, until a certain date where they have to finally send it. And after that date, yes, no more continuous improvement. So allow them to improve, give feedback, peers give feedback, okay, and then let's see what they produce. So we are looking for technology-enabled learning, okay, but we should not be focused on just the devices only. Okay, what do you think? What do you think about this? That we should not focus on the device. Do you agree with me? Or should we focus on the device?
Dr. Dorothy, may I share my view?
Yes, yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, I think the device itself do pose certain constraints. But I think it's not a constraint that cannot be overcome, especially if students are working in group. And also the process in which they are involved in and the activities that they do while working on the task can be meaningful for students. So that's my view. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, very true. Okay, we should not be focused. I too agree. We should not totally focus on the device. But yes, working in groups, in teams does really help. Okay, the students and even the lecturers. Okay, when we're working in groups, so we also feel that it's easier to work when we have a team that's helping us, or we can share notes, share our experiences. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else has any opinion that you'd like to share? Okay, I'll carry on then. Since we are in the technology enabled world, everything seems to depend on technology. Unfortunately, we have to depend on the devices. Okay, but in learning, we are actually more on the psychology, right? We have to look at what our learners face, what kind of problems they may face, right? And we will probably need to develop, as lecturers, develop solutions to help them learn better. So like having more engagement with them, developing higher order thinking. That's what we want with our students, to be able to think better, okay? And to do perhaps even more research, scholarship of teaching and learning, to design ways of teaching. So that's what we do also in my faculty, especially in the Faculty of Education. We try to design more models of teaching online, okay? And this doesn't mean that we get it right the first time. So we have to try and test out and explore and do more research, okay, on what works best for our students. So it depends also on what kind of teaching, what kind of content we are doing. Okay, so I am encouraging you now to publish your research. So have a look on the research that you do in teaching and learning as well. Okay, have a look at this article from ETRD this year. So the research we have is not the research we need. Okay, we need more new research. Okay, to look at different things, different ways of doing things, of teaching. So I am going to suggest that please do more research on technology-enabled learning. And it is not just the technology innovation. I cannot just adopt everything that I see from another country into Malaysia, into my classroom. We work even in different parts of Malaysia. We have to test it out and see whether it is viable or not. Can we use it? So this is a concept, viability of the technology innovation. We cannot just simply adopt it. We have to see how it can work, because the technology affordances, the advantages of that particular technology is not innate. I cannot just transfer. If it's so good in one particular institution, when I transfer it to my institution, does it work or not? And this is where we need to test it out. But do explore. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't try new technologies. Instead, this is something to encourage you to test out new ways of doing things. So viability of the technology, as long as you as lecturers, as instructors, okay, are able to adapt to your learners, to their learning needs, to have more personalized learning with them, to allow them. So some technologies allow a personalized form of learning for the learner, okay, which like Google can anticipate what you want to search for. Okay, it can even suggest things to you. So we should be moving towards that direction, and I'm sure your LMS will also be moving there very soon to a more personalized form of learning, personalized to the learner, to your student. And how do we do that? Things like artificial intelligence and all that can predict. That's how Google does it by artificial intelligence. They have certain programs in place to determine. That's how Facebook does the marketing as well. Predictive analysis to suggest things to you. Okay, and that would be an area for technology enhanced, enabled learning in the future. And immersive experiences. So you're already trying out 360 videos, fantastic. Okay, that would probably be an area that you can use to enhance your learners' emotions, actually. Okay, so that they can feel more immersed in the learning, and even in that way develop certain attitudes, we hope. Okay, so that they will be better learners, are more empathic. Okay, they have more empathy with the situation. So we should also provide authentic learning environments for us to allow the learner to experience what they might experience. We cannot make it the same as at the workplace, but maybe it might be almost the same. Almost the same. Problems that are almost the same at the workplace, we try and solve in the safe classroom, so that when they go for internship, they have experienced it a little bit, okay? And when they go to work, they know how to solve. They would know how to solve. So assessment should be authentic assessment, okay, related to what happens at the workplace, which can be proctored. So we have proctoring. We have started using proctoring tools, to enable a safe environment during our quizzes if they have to take it online. So remember that not everything can be transferred automatically. Okay, we have to check it out. I like to share with you some of the new environments that we are looking at. Okay, so this is one particular application, but it doesn't work well on the mobile phone. So this is can be collaborative, but on a mobile phone, it just doesn't have the capability. Okay, but on the desktop or mobile, better PC, okay, personal computer, it could work. This is Mozilla Hubs. So this is where the metaverse, if you've heard the metaverse, okay, is heading to, where you can put voice. So if you look here, there's a voice recorder. You can talk. You can, what we do is, so you are actually seeing my class here, actually, when we went into the Mozilla Hub, a virtual environment. We take on the avatars. So these things that you see here, some are people, some are animals, okay? Some are robots. These are avatars that we take, and these are names of the students that you see. As we go into the virtual world and we interact there. So this photo was taken at a time, so you can take photos also there. When we were in the midst of the pandemic, the height of the pandemic, after a few weeks of online learning, get fed up already, wanted to go somewhere. We went to an island, and we put our photos here, okay, and I tried to give a lecture. Nobody wanted to listen. Do you know? They were all running around. they were quite excited in being in this online environment, and they started exploring. So that's another thing that we have to probably look at. You cannot just give a lecture, okay, in an online environment. So based on this, one of my students got quite excited about this, and she went on to do her master's project on this. And she is from China, and she's doing English as a second language, teaching English as a second language in a virtual world like this. So she has put up resources and things that they can read, activities for them to do, for their learners to do. So go into the virtual world, start doing the activities, and she would be able to get the report from their activities that they have done, okay, things that they have to look out for, and all this would contribute. And she's trying to test now whether it improves their speaking ability. Unfortunately, her preliminary results show that students are very, very interested, but there does not seem to be a significant difference in their speaking ability. So sometimes technology works, sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, but it's okay. It's something that we need to know and check. So maybe in another case, or maybe her design of her module needs to be improved. So iterative. So what's your action plan? What can you do? So just to share, so the viability of the technology, all right, in Mozilla Hub that we tried, not everyone could cope because it requires things like technical skills. Okay, they need to know. If people who are experienced gamers, they have a better mobility. They can move faster in the virtual world because they know what keys. Okay, you have the arrow keys to move with. Okay, and of course you need computer bandwidth, internet access. Okay, devices that are work. And is there a possibility of anxiety and isolation? Is there? So instructor also will probably need to have different pedagogical skills. You see, in the virtual world, things are different. You cannot give a lecture. It won't work. And then lecturers also get stressed up. Are you going to force them to do it? Oh no. Okay. So especially this pandemic, I think lecturers, there's some of you enjoyed it, but some had lots of problems. Okay. So new technologies we can try and use, but we probably need to adopt it better. One of the things that you see here, this is actually 360, so a 360 picture. I have been doing a lot of work on 360 elements, okay, 360 photos, videos, okay, to develop immersive worlds. And the project that you heard that I won, okay, was actually where we provided these photos and got students to develop their own 360 environment. So what you see here is the student. So unfortunately, this is not mobile, okay, but can be viewed later on the mobile. Development happens on the computer, okay, and what can be done in a virtual environment is that you can tag and label virtually. So you have things like this coming out. So these students were students from Polytechnic who actually learn how to use virtual reality, develop their own virtual worlds on Google Poly, okay, and label them in the subject of Mandarin as a foreign language. Okay, so that's why you see there's Mandarin words, terms here, and they're looking at very Chinese environment. Okay, so it was, I guess, quite fun for the students. They had fun. Okay, our research showed they had fun, and they developed quite interesting things, and they learned new vocabulary. So this was majority Malay, okay, majority Malay. There are no Chinese in the group, okay, and they learned. And after they all had a different task to do. Each group had a different task. Then they shared what they developed on virtual reality. This virtual reality can be viewed on mobile phones. So this case that you are seeing is a Google Glass, okay, adapted Google Glass. What you have inside, maybe you can view, is a mobile device which can access the environment. Okay, it's shared on a Google Drive and accessed through an app. Okay, for a 360 viewer of the environment that was developed. So this is again new pedagogies. Development, students doing content development and then sharing the content that they develop, okay, with their friends who also had a chance to view. So new pedagogies that I think we are exploring, and we cannot, even in Universiti Malaysia, we have not got a full HTC Vive, for example, a totally virtual environment with a cave setting, you know, they call it a cave, okay, but we have been using, we have been showing our lecturers, okay, and a few of them are just starting to explore virtual reality, okay, but 360 videos, you're right, okay, just like you, people are quite happy to use. And Google Street has also a lot of capability, yeah. So you see Google Street View. I use this to introduce when I'm doing my virtual presentations to people from overseas, especially. When you come into Universiti Malaya, this is our, from Kuala Lumpur gate, okay, KL gate, we have this view. On our right here, behind the trees, is the Chancellery, okay, and there's a lake nearby. So I sometimes use this route to show them as they go into our university and to our faculty. So devices, unfortunately, virtual reality, we need the devices. But the mobile virtual reality is using a mobile phone. You can see the mobile phone here. Okay, this is Samsung Gear. Technology goes obsolete very fast. Samsung Gear is now obsolete, not supported. Similarly, with Oculus Go and Google Daydream, they are now considered obsolete. Okay, but the device, it's just like your mobile phone lah, that goes out of date. Oculus is now Oculus Quest. A newer device that you can use is Oculus Quest. It's just putting on, so it's a mobile virtual reality, okay, where you use and you can move around. But it is very individual, very individualistic and like collaboration. So how? So you have to think of pedagogies that will fit into this kind of environment. Well, Facebook is talking about metaverse where they can collaborate online, okay, just like the Mozilla Hubs. So that's another thing that could be coming into the virtual reality world soon, having collaborations. But at the moment, there are fantastic 360 videos available for our students to learn and experience, okay, different environments. But maybe what we can do for pedagogies is, after they have viewed the environment at their own pace, they come back and they have interactions back into their teams. So all these things are requiring a big transformative change. These new pedagogies, these new devices, lots of things are changing. Are we ready for it? So Masrow's, I draw upon Masrow because this is actually transformation. Okay, we had the disorientating dilemma. We had to examine how we did things, suitable or not. We had to maybe even change our way of thinking, our way of interacting, our culture. Okay, and we had to do things differently. And that's what I think all of us did. We explored new roles, relationships, we did things differently, and we have to plan the next step. So I guess by having this webinar, you are also planning for your next course of action. How are we going to do our teaching and learning in this future post-pandemic? Okay, what do we focus on? So that's where you are acquiring knowledge and skills, and then you will be trying out your new roles, okay, and seeing whether it works. So in the process, of course, building competency, so knowing what is pedagogy, that's one way, one direction. Okay, next we have to test it out. We definitely have to test it out and see whether it works or not, and integrate it back into our life, our new perception of what teaching is, because this seems to be the learning that we're going to do in the future. So transformative learning, we have transformed. I like to iterate now, okay, that perhaps our way of interacting may need to change. We probably have to, so actually this is a section that you see here from my learning communities lecture, okay. We probably have to look at different ways of relating and working online, different ways of interacting to build new knowledge. So these are the theories actually that we use in knowledge building, knowledge creation, constructing new knowledge, okay? And this may have to be the way forward, especially if we want our students to interact. So a knowledge community, okay, is a curriculum, a knowledge community and inquiry model of curriculum is where we design the curriculum for the whole class. Yes, we design for the whole class, but we allow students to generate their own knowledge. And the knowledge they generate is a collective knowledge, okay, which they can share with all the individuals in the class. So if we want them to share in a safe environment, a class environment, on the Microsoft Teams for the class, private to the class, or on the learning management system for the class, these are ways that perhaps they can share. So allow them to develop their own communities of learning. That could be a way forward. There's a way of looking at the new pedagogies that are coming up. So for me, I like the situated learning perspective. Okay, won't be long now. We're going to finish this session. Learning has to be meaningful to the learner, okay, and gives the learner himself a sense of identity. So we don't say you are wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, okay, because it's not just factual knowledge that we want them. We want them to develop ideas, give them a sense of self-esteem, okay, give them different contexts in which they can build their knowledge, and informal settings to try it out. Okay, so having more discussions where you sit down and collaborate, okay, having more problem solving, okay, where they have to think how to solve their problems. By having more activities, okay, it should motivate them, it will allow them to actually interact with one another. And that is what is missing in the online learning that causes a lot of problem. When you don't have social interaction, when there's no collaboration, when they're doing work alone by themselves, that's where the psychological problems comes in. So having a more social learning, and we hope that's the way that at the workplace they will also be able to work in groups, in teams, okay, to find out new solutions and solve problems. At the same time, in the situated learning perspective, we hope for everybody to participate. However, okay, in real life, there are a lot of lurkers. Even in your class, maybe if you ask them questions, not everybody will answer. Many of them will just keep quiet, see what other people do. But in teaching and learning, it's okay, you know, when you see how other people respond, you are also learning. But the thing is, you need people to respond. So don't worry about the lurkers. So one of the research shows that 90% of our students are lurkers, 9% intermittent contributors, 1% only heavy contributors. But how do you know whether they solve the problem or not? So you only can give them a certificate of completion by looking at the problem that was solved. Maybe having a few marks on participation helps, okay, but looking at how the problem was solved, okay, would help a lot. So now we have the opportunity to explore new pedagogies, new learning environments, okay, and different hybrid models. So there's no one real answer, okay, no one answer. So hybrid models, like half of the class go online, half of the class are face-to-face. You need to cater for both of them. So it requires a lot of change from lecturers, students, parents also, because parents end up buying the devices that they need. Okay, and someone said this is not the end, you know, because there will be more threats in the future. From the Frontiers in Public Health article that I mentioned, researchers list future pandemics, climate change as the key threats that could be prevented with proper preparation. So there might be further COVID waves, although this was in 2020. Okay, there might be other pandemics. Environment, definitely. Have you experienced the haze in recent years? The last 2 years, was there a haze? Indonesia not going to export their palm oil. So is there going to be any more haze? Or is haze still an annual problem in Sarawak? So there will be other threats to what we do in the normal. So we have to plan for the post-pandemic model. If I take a deep learning new pedagogies model that Michael Fullan uses, he says that the new model should be student-led, but teacher-framed, teacher design the environment, okay? Connected to the real world, authentic problem solving, builds community and relationship, and the student builds knowledge, connects meaningfully to their own interests. Learning is what they are interested in, what they can voice out, and it is our human desire to connect with others, to do good. So projects to do good, perhaps, where technology is the connector, not the transmitter of information, but just as a connector and an amplifier. So transformative change, okay, is disruptive technologies, disorientating dilemmas, but it gives us great opportunities actually for great learning and change, okay? And I'm sure you're all on the way to your transformation, okay? My contact is there. Feel free to drop me a line, okay, and share with me. And now I'm finished actually, okay, but I'm opening up to questions, okay, that you may want to ask me, okay. I need to stop sharing and you can ask me questions. Okay, let me see. Am I able to stop sharing? So Dr. Daiyang, back to you as I
Okay. Okay, so thank you, Prof. So I open the session for question and answer and also comments from other participants. If you would like to say something to Prof. Okay, Prof, just like in our class. Nobody.
Yeah. I know. It's the same everywhere, huh?
So I can see that there are lots of techniques which the method of teaching, Prof. But the one that is interesting is the Mozilla Hub. Is it hard for you to learn to do that one, and also how the students' acceptance on that technology that you embed in the lecture?
Thank you for
Yeah.
asking. So students love it lah. Actually, our students love exploring new things. Okay, and I think they enjoyed when they were on Mozilla Hub, you know. But when I first used it, I didn't have the pedagogy. Okay, I thought I could do it like in the lecture, in similarly like in class. I thought we could, okay, let's go there, and then you sit around and then I talk and ask questions. But it was not like that because it's very distracting. So this is something to point out as well. It's actually quite easy to use. If you are a lecturer and using it, in fact, anybody, even your students also could also use. You just need to sign in. It's a free version actually. The world is free. You can choose different environments. I've been to seaside here, you see. I've been to how to describe? I want to say Padang lah, Padang, you know, like Padang. Okay, so just a field, and then mountains in the background. Okay, but what you put in, so the pedagogy is important. What you put in is important. So I've also gone into a room also. So we've tried a few after that now. So in a room, small enclosed space, it can work. The students can sit down and listen to you. You can put in your lecture notes, you know, the PowerPoint slides can be uploaded here. Okay, so you can upload the slides and you can present in the room. But in a big open space like this, students are, I suppose, just like when you bring your students out to the field, also field trip, also same thing. They are distracted, right? Once you bring them, they all start lari sini sana everywhere, and then you cannot control. You have to call them, ha. Similar to in real life, when they are far away, they cannot hear you when you call out to them. When they are near you, you can. So if you are planning a field trip, you need to prepare, maybe give them the questions. So same thing, prepare, give them the questions beforehand, give them the things that they must look out beforehand, because half the time they will be lost at somewhere else. So you have to give it time to come back. So having that kind of strategy works, okay, can be done. But you have to check. So the difficulty was that some students, because of their computer RAM, I think it's the RAM that is not really very high for them, or they need to clean up their computer. So those who had problems were those who didn't have very high performance computers. You don't need, you just need a normal laptop. I can use my laptop, okay, no problem. So students, some of them are all right, but on the mobile phone, like I say, on the mobile phone, it also will have difficulties because certain things that you put in cannot load. So what do you put in? So you can put in your PowerPoint slides. You can put in a posters. Okay, you can. So if you want to explore further, so in one of the competitions that we did also, we designed, because we're going to present Mandarin as a foreign language. So we designed an environment, put in music, audio. So soothing Chinese music. So we designed a Chinese environment, and you can buy 3D objects, okay, to use in the virtual environment. So if you think that you want to equip it with furniture, okay, with what other nice things to decorate your environment, you can look for some objects are free. 3D objects. Some objects need to be bought. So these are poly 3D objects, which can be manipulated, which can be, in this case, we fix it there like our furniture, okay, to do the furnishing there.
Mm. Okay. So how about teaching engineering students, Prof?
Mm.
Uh,
Mm. So yeah, you have to tell me also, how would you teach? Maybe in the virtual world here, I mean, what do engineering students do? Unless you get them to design something in virtual reality, in the virtual world, in virtual reality. So I have also used one particular, so this one Mozilla Hub also, you can design. So maybe buying something, building a bridge, building a, I don't know, what can you do? Okay, so you
how
have to
about mathematics or something like that? The simplest one, mathematics. Teaching
so it will have to be something that is more problem based. So solving a problem online. If you expect to teach mathematics the same way, so back to the same thing lah. Do a lecture in this world, you probably won't get your students. Your students will probably prefer to come to class to see you, or maybe you just need to use the, what app is that? A whiteboard app, perhaps, just to write. That will be simpler. Okay, but if you want to use this world, you have to think of maybe having a problem and getting them to solve a problem in the world. Measure something, estimate the height perhaps, or something. Okay, so perhaps I'm thinking about like a sine, cosine, that kind of thing, getting the measurements, measuring the elevation, and so on.
Oh, I can see that there are lots of tools, Prof. But I cannot see any information related to Discord, something like that. Discord. Nowadays, this one is also popular, right?
Discord,
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether people have been using Discord. I haven't seen people using Discord for teaching and learning. For gaming, chat, yes lah. Discord has been used. I also have Discord, but I don't really use it also. So it is more for chatting, and Discord has the affordance of being able to have channels. Or, do they call it channels? Okay, where they are able to, you can group, it's just like grouping on WhatsApp. So I think perhaps because maybe WhatsApp is more popular, even Telegram doesn't seem to be as popular in among our students. So maybe also it is we don't want to move to something that is not so familiar, that we are not familiar with. We rather use something that we are familiar. But for the young people, the gamers who are on Discord, Discord is the way forward, right?
Because we have speakers from UTM, Prof. They use the Discord for the collaborative learning.
UTM.
Yeah. Yes, UTM. Normally, I think the Discord is popular among UTM staff. I think not UM. UM is other. Yeah. Okay, so anybody want to ask or say something to Prof? Maybe Dr. Joseph, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. I've just joined in. I would like to, I think one of the issues that when I came in that Dr. Dorothy mentioned was about the assessment issues. And I think that's very important. And I try to get my students to also do self and peer assessment. But I often find that there needs to be an approach on literacy of assessment. Students these days, you can ask them to assess themselves, and I find that from the courses I've been teaching, the very good students tend to assess themselves very lowly, while the students who are not, I don't like to use the term bad, but students who don't, who are not really academically inclined, may we say, tend to give very high marks for themselves. I find that this seems to be an issue, and I recently experimented with getting students to understand, first of all, the rubrics of the assessment, and then I find that you need to have literacy of assessment in that sense. I don't know what your thoughts about this.
I agree with you. I do use self-assessment, peer assessment, but I do not use it how should I say, solely or just rely on one means of assessment. That means there would be other forms of assessment. So if I'm giving a project right now to my undergraduates, they have to assess each other, peer assessment. Okay, I give them the rubric. Okay, yeah, getting them to understand, and of course we have that, that feeling where they will give their friends, people whom they like, or if it's a young man, the young ladies that they like, they'll get higher marks, that kind of thing happens. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
We don't give them, we don't rely wholly on their peer assessment. Okay, but if we have other means of assessment as well, so the presentation perhaps can be assessed. But for me, I have my report, the group report that they have to produce. That will be assessed as well. So multiple means of assessment perhaps would improve the reliability of the assessment.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, that's one of the ways, because normally otherwise we would be assessing on our end and trying to get the students to participate. Yeah, thank you very much for your input. When I came in, it was a very interesting slide about how students need to be, also need to be aware of the kind of applications we are using. Sometimes we tend to assume that because these are the so-called digital natives, which I have a problem with that definition. Not all of them are. They are when it comes to social networking, entertainment, yes.
Yes.
The moment I try to use TikTok in my teaching and learning, they get sort of put off. Because it becomes education, and I get some comments like, you spoiled the whole thing because you put it in education part of it. Not for all. I mean, you do get comments like this. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. So actually, the digital natives, just to add on that, there are some lecturers that I have heard of in RMIT in Australia who do not believe in the term digital natives. They refuse to accept it because, similar to what you have mentioned, although they have grown up in this era of digital apps and all that, they are actually not really very good at it, only at a certain level and only in things that they like. And
Yes.
in education.
Yes. That's true.
Okay,
Thank you.
so any more question or comments from the participants? Okay, so I think that's all, Prof. Okay, so
Okay.
if there is no question, I would like to conclude our workshop for today, Prof. Thank you very much for just a very good sharing. We have learned lots of pedagogies in teaching, yes, and then we hope that all the participants found this sharing valuable for you to develop your own teaching style. So we hope that you'll be getting some inspiration to conduct your teaching and learning. So thank you again for your time and participation in this workshop. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. I had fun, and everybody keep on trying, exploring and testing it out. Okay, we want viability of your solution. Okay, all the best to you too in your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dorothy, for the valuable sharing.
Thank you, Dr. Shobha. And I hope to see you online as well one day.